Queridos alumnos, this is it, the last video you'll ever have to watch about how and when to use el gerundio in Spanish. What is el gerundio? El gerundio, or gerund in English, is a verb used to indicate two things. Number one, something that is happening as I speak. For example, estoy dando clase. Number two, the reason behind something. For example, sabiendo que el gerundio es difícil, preparé esta clase. The gerund isn't difficult at all. I'll show you how easy it actually is in this video. El gerundio is similar to ing verbs in English, but the uses are not quite the same. That's why it's important that you learn how it works in Spanish. Let's listen to a little conversation and let's see if you can guess what the pattern is.
¿Qué onda? ¿Qué estás haciendo? ¿Qué onda? Estaba trabajando. Tengo que entregar una traducción enorme la próxima semana. Lo supuse, pero deberías estar descansando, es domingo. Sí, me la paso trabajando, durmiendo o comiendo. Creo que es lo que todo el mundo ha estado haciendo en tiempos de pandemia.
Now, you've seen a couple of examples of the gerund already, and perhaps you've noticed this use is quite similar to that in English. I will tell you when to avoid the gerund in Spanish later in this video, but first, let's go over the conjugation. When a verb ends in AR, like trabajar or descansar, the ending is ando, as in trabajando or descansando. When a verb ends in ER or IR, like comer or dormir, the ending is yendo, as in comiendo or durmiendo. As you heard in the dialogue, when someone asks, ¿Qué estás haciendo?, they are using the gerund because whatever the other person is doing is happening at the same time as the question is being asked. In this case, you reply with a combination of the verb estar and a gerund. Estoy trabajando. Estás durmiendo. Está comiendo. The gerund is also used for things that are done repeatedly, as in me la paso trabajando, durmiendo o comiendo. Now, you could learn the gerund the old way, drilling conjugation tables. But the easiest way to get that done is by using flashcards and learning the gerund as a word combination or chunk, like this. Me la paso blank. Me la paso trabajando, durmiendo o comiendo. By the way, did you know that you can get flashcards from this lesson and other lessons? All you have to do is become a member of the Spring Spanish Inner Circle. If you want to learn more, follow the link in the description. The reason behind something. The gerund is also used to tell the reason behind something. Let's listen to the rest of the conversation to find out how that's done.
Sabiendo lo mucho que te estresan ese tipo de traducciones, supongo que ni siquiera has dormido. He dormido lo suficiente. Conociéndote, lo suficiente deben ser 2 horas. 2 horas y media. No, bueno, te sigues descuidando. Estás exagerando, como siempre.
In this portion of the conversation, the gerund is used the same way in both English and Spanish to indicate the reason or justification behind something. Sabiendo lo mucho que te estresan ese tipo de traducciones, supongo que ni has dormido. Conociéndote, lo suficiente deben ser 2 horas. Essentially, because I know you, I presume this or that. I use the gerund this way in the introduction. Sabiendo que el gerundio es difícil, preparé esta clase. So, in Spanish, you may use the gerund as a reason or justification for something. Avoid the gerund in these cases. Como dije antes, the gerund in Spanish is similar to ing verbs in English, but the uses are not the same. These are those you should avoid. Number 1. talking about an action that takes place at a later time. In Spanish, you should not use the gerund to talk about the consequence or result of something. So, in a sentence like Mariana aplaudió despertando los estudiantes, we're trying to say that the students woke up because I applauded, which is the result of my action. So this use of the gerund is incorrect. Instead, the correct version would be Mariana aplaudió y los estudiantes se despertaron. Los estudiantes se despertaron porque Mariana aplaudió. Number 2. Using the gerund as an adjective. In English, it is very common to use an ing verb to describe something. For example, I enjoy sports, including swimming, tennis, and basketball. If you do this in Spanish, however, you would be using the gerund incorrectly. So, instead of saying disfruto los deportes, incluyendo la natación, el tenis y el básquetbol, say disfruto los deportes, entre ellos la natación, el tenis y el básquetbol. Number 3. Using the gerund although the subject is different. Think of the gerund as a unit that is always accompanied by a conjugated verb, like estar, which appears next to a gerund very often. Conjugated verbs correspond to a specific pronoun: I, you, she, he, we, they, etc. For that reason, you cannot use the gerund independently as it is done in this sentence. Ustedes pueden aprender español enseñándoles chunks. In this case, you guys is the subject, but enseñándoles, which is the gerund, is referring to us, Spring Spanish. Since those are two different subjects, the gerund should be avoided altogether. Quiz and recap. Alright, let's make a quick recap to make sure you've understood when and how to use the gerund. Blank, que el gerundio es difícil, preparé esta clase. ¿Qué estás? Blank. Te sigues? Blank. He estado blank lo suficiente. Blank lo suficiente deben ser 2 horas. Now, one of the verbs that always accompanies the gerund is the verb estar. So, to make sure you master the combination and know how to conjugate this verb correctly, watch the next part of this lesson about the verb estar. Just click the image on screen and we will continue there.